like in this one is that it's a family of two students that I had, and one is in the US and the other one is in Spain. And of course, what's interesting is that Animesh started like 3 months ago. Anushka is close to finishing. Basically, the first question that I have, I'm going to start with Anushka. Hein? Hello, Animesh. Hello, Anushka.
Hi, sir.
Alors,
Good evening.
so Anushka, um, I would ask you to introduce yourself after that. But so, what was it like? So you arrived in Spain about like 1 year ago, because you arrived early December, something like that, late November,
Yeah.
early December. So can you tell us what it is to study for an MIM in Spain as an Indian? Tell us everything.
Thank you, Dr. Hubert, for inviting me to this webinar. And currently, I am at the end of my master's. In 1 week, I would be done.
Mm,
And my journey was really nice since the
mm,
starting, and since it was my first international experience, and in like a very top business school. It was very challenging because the schedules are very much like including practical experiences, and then you have other things to manage as well. The best part about IE is like they have a lot of case studies, they have real life problems, they have way too many presentations. And since I have specialized in sales and marketing, it has given me an overview of the marketing industry and how to work in the corporate world with people who you don't know, as well as my experience at MBA Center working as an intern was also quite good because I learned how to deal with people from various different cultures, how to handle time, and how to work in pressure. So it kind of helped me a lot while studying at IE. And now, since I'm going to graduate in, I guess, 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, my graduation is 15 December. I guess, yeah, it was a worthful journey for me.
okay. Um, so tell me, Anushka, how different is do you study at the University of Delhi? I gave a seminar, by the way, at Shisham College, but not exactly in your college. So tell me, how different is it to study at in India as it is to study in Spain? How different it is? How different is New Delhi University from IE Business School?
Oh, it's way different. Actually, it's way different in actually many different aspects. First thing is that in IE, the curriculum is way different than you have at Delhi University. And since it's a private university and Delhi University was a government university, there's also a huge difference in that. Basically, at IE, is the thing is that they keep pushing you to do stuff a lot, like literally group work. Like you are not free and idle at any moment of time. You have literally the whole day, like at 10 to 11 hours, you're working and you have deadlines each and every day, which was not there in Delhi University. I got a lot of free time when I was studying there, but in IE, I rarely got time, and even on weekends, sometimes I had to work like Saturdays, and I used to be in university sometimes at Sundays in the night. So I guess there was a difference between the education system, I guess. A lot of practicality, not only theory, and instead of assignments, there were way too many presentations. And I guess in University of Delhi, there was not group work and all. So basically, in when I'm studying at IE, I'm working with people from all parts of the world. So not only Europeans, but Americans, Asia, etc. So yeah, that was a huge difference. The working with people from diverse cultures, group work, and also that teamwork, and also dealing with pressure and all, because in Delhi University there was not such many deadlines and something that we had to align to. And especially the attendance, since start of January till end of December, there was not one class I haven't missed till now. I have 100% attendance. So the thing is that there's a lot of international exposure that I got here, which I didn't get at Delhi University.
Yes, I think so. So tell me now, Animesh. So you arrive in New York in July, okay?
Yeah, in
So what
July.
have you been doing? So of course I see that you're traveling. I've been to the UK. You send me many pictures. I don't know what they correspond to exactly, but so what is it to be an Indian in New York and staying at a top US university?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks a lot, Dr. Hubert and MBA Center for this webinar. And like the journey was from the US, from the India to the US, it's been quite different because in India, I have already worked in the industry for past 3 years, and before that, I was in the university. So the transition from a university to the work culture and then back to the studies, it was slightly difficult, but I think Fordham made it easy because the kind of atmosphere we have here is very industry based. So when I landed here, we had so Fordham is one of the universities which have a very unique 1 month orientation program. So a lot of US universities start their sessions in September, but Fordham started way back in July. So for a month, we had rigorous workshops every week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and wherein we were learning people skills, presentation skills, finance, accounting, whatever, every skill that we will require further in the course. So that was one thing that was pretty unique. It was hectic, but it gave us a chance to know our cohort. So another good thing about Fordham was that they have just 60 people in their MBA as compared to 100 or 200 people in other MBA courses like NYU, Columbia, wherein you are just a face. Nobody knows you as such. Here we have a 60 people cohort which is further divided into 30 people. So we have two different classes which has 30 people each. So it's so close knit that we know pretty much everyone, and we are, like, there's a good friend circle, there's a good bonding, there's a good understanding, and like as a business associate, you need to know the person. As a businessman, you need to person you're going to work with, even if even if that person is difficult or even that person is different, you need to understand the psychology, and that's what Fordham makes easy for us. The third thing I would say that is Fordham has really worked on diversity. It's not like a lot of like I was at Columbia last week for a ball, so with a friend, so I just saw there were like 60% Indians in Columbia, and 40%, out of 40% there were 30% Latinas, and then 10% maybe Americans, Europeans, and other nationalities. But in Fordham we have just 10 Indians and maybe 12 or 13 Latinas, 7 Americans, some people from Africa, some people from Australia. So it's a very diverse cohort. It's not just India, everywhere. So you can get into cultures of Venezuela, you can get into cultures of China, you can get into cultures of Bolivia. I am actually today going for a, a friendsgiving dinner at a Venezuelan friends. Like, it's good mix of culture, and that's what makes Fordham different. And the most important part is Fordham's location. It's right in Manhattan. Like, I get out of my college and there's Billionaire's corner it right in front of me. There's a whole Times Square that in front of my college. So the industry is right here. If someone wants to get into finance, you have JP Morgan, you have Goldman Sachs, you have not Nomura. Every company is right here on the corner. So it's very easy for us to go to those companies, to have some industry chats, to meet those people. And Fordham does a very good job in that for getting those people here. A lot, like yesterday night, I came at 1 a.m. in the morning just because I had a conference at with Amex and EY, and then we went for a dinner with them. So Fordham on a regular basis organizes a lot of conferences, a lot of meet and greets, and a lot of chats with industry professionals, because the most important part for us is right now the summer internship. And like, summer internship people are really serious about, because that what determines whether they will stay in the US or not, because currently sponsorship is one of the biggest issue for any international student, irrespective of it being America or Europe. So, and especially Indians, there's a specific question in every job portal, that are you a Hispanic or not. There's no question whether you are an Asian or an Indian, because there's a lot of Indians around in America.
Okay. But tell
So,
me, Fordham is not STEM. Fordham is a
sorry.
STEM program.
Yeah, it's a STEM
Fordham.
program. Yeah, it's so Fordham MBA is a
So
complete STEM
anyway,
program.
you sure to normally you can stay 3 years after graduation, provided that you find a job, and
Yeah,
it's not
so
too difficult to
I
find a
have a
job. No.
couple of interviews. I have a
Hmm?
couple of interviews. I'm waiting for results from Colgate and Nike.
Hmm?
So it's been going a good journey, but it's very hectic. We are in the college from 10 o'clock, and I don't know, we come back home at 11 at night or 12 at night after finishing projects. And like what Anushka said, it's very different from India, because in India, I did my undergrad in business administration as well, and I specialized in advertising and marketing. But there was more of a theoretical approach. and less of presentations. Here, I don't know how many presentations I have made in past 3 months. Like if I see my folder, there would be probably 100. Every week there is a presentation. Every 2 weeks there is a midterm. The number of midterms I am giving, I last week I thought it was a midterm. It was a final exam. So it was very, it was very confusing. So like the amount of preparations these guys make us do, and since it has become STEM this year, they have further quantified it. We have much more
Mm.
programming courses, we have much more quantitative mathematical courses, and obviously we have accounting and finance. And it's not just people coming here from accounting background or finance background. I have a person who was who was an artist for past 6 years, and one person who's a fashion designer, one person who was a pilot, a doctor. So it's a very diverse cohort in terms of careers as well. It's not just people coming from a finance or bank background. Like me coming from an advertise, I'm the only person from an advertising background in my class. My best friend here, he's a lawyer. Who is a lawyer in Brazil for past 4 years. Then another friend, he was a dancer. He was
Mm.
actually a ballet. He was a salsa dancer in Spain. So he was a professional dancer. So he's here, and like it's
You
very.
decided to stop salsa? Animesh, you decided
They
to
are
stop
teaching
salsa?
me. I learned how to dance in Macarena, so they took me to this
you can you, you
party.
can go
So,
to Bollywood. Huh? We can send him to Bollywood,
oh
Anushka.
yeah,
We
we
can
taught them
send
Bollywood. We had a Bollywood night at
send us.
Fordham. So
Yeah, I'm
Fordham has
sure.
a lot of events, like
Yeah, yeah,
especially, and people are very intrigued by the Indian culture. So I actually
yeah,
threw a Diwali party last 3 weeks back.
yeah,
Around
yeah, yeah,
70
for
people
Diwali.
came
Yeah,
to
yeah,
my
okay.
place.
Yeah, I saw the picture for Diwali party. I
Yeah,
saw the picture. You showed off, huh?
yeah.
Uh, Anushka, you want to introduce yourself to the public, so that they know more about you? Mm.
Yeah, currently, we also had like a lot of events at IE. We had the Diwali event. I also did a performance, Indian party, etc. And currently, I'm also, after my final capstone project, I'm working with Puma for 4 days for their project. And from 20 to 31st is known as the IE to I Lab, which IE integrates every year for the master students, wherein a company comes and they give you a project to launch a new idea campaign. So I would be working there from 20 to 31st. And as far as extracurricular activities are concerned, I'm a dancer, and IE Tower, which is um, a little far away from my campus. They have every sessions on Tuesday. So I learned quite a dance a bit, better more. So
Yeah.
dancing, cooking, etc. So yeah, I keeps on organizing events like this.
Okay, so that's something that you like doing. Alors, basically, Animesh, can you explain to us how it works when you're in the US to find a job post business school? Okay, and how we're not going to criticize IE, but how it is much better to be in the US in a 2-year program versus a 1-year program in Europe. Can you explain that? And maybe Anushka will reply. She will say I don't agree at all. So what do you think that it is, and that's what you have done, to go to the US for a STEM program that is 2 year long? What do you think is better to post business school guarantee a job?
See, I have like we had this conversation at
Yeah.
my first day with you, Dr. Hubert, that I have always
But
been
it's for
of
the
the.
public. You see, Animesh, it's for our
It has
public.
always been
It's for our public.
it
Yeah.
has always been a perspective from my end that if you're going for a business education, it's important that you go with a work experience, because what work experience teaches you is that what not to do than what to do in a business scenario. Like the things that you would want to not do in a particular meeting, the things that you would want don't want to do in a presentation, you learn the nots more than the do's when you're working. And that is a must for business education, because if you're coming with a work experience in a business school, you have already done 60% of your business school there, because the work ethics classes, the leadership classes, you are coming with an experience and you can actually contribute. They at a business school, they don't teach you from scratch. They won't teach you the ABCDs. They will teach you the word rather than the basic, which what is the A, what is the B, or what is the C. And that is where I think US makes it very different from Europe and as a whole in terms of education system. Like I have friends in Germany, I have friends in London, and like I see them, they have just, it's a do it yourself culture in Europe. And like I'm not specifically for Spain, but like in London, let's say my friend, they have just one class in a week and they're partying every day there. Here we get a chance to party maybe over the weekends or not over the weekends even. Like from past 2 weeks, we have been so busy with projects, cases, competitions. There's so much to do here in total. And then one thing that I feel is the 2 year MBA gives you a chance is that it also gives you a lot of time to apply for jobs, because ultimately you're coming in an MBA not just to learn but to get a job. Like, I have to be very honest with you, MBA is nothing but a job fair wherein you just have to hustle hard. There's another line in in the MBAs here at the US that MBA is nothing but a happy hour, because half of the time people are drunk here. So after classes. So yeah,
No,
like
we should cut that in post production, okay? Because we don't
yeah,
want to deprive Miss Fordham.
yeah. Because like every day there are networking meetings, and networking here never happens over tea or coffee.
Mm,
So
mm, mm, mm,
we so like networking is the core part at every MBA that you go to. You have to
mm,
meet people, you have to convince people, you have to the number of messages I send out on LinkedIn almost every day to
mm,
recruiters, to hiring managers, to some people, some alums from that particular company. Like, let's say I was applying to be Adobe,
mm,
and Adobe, I have a very good senior who graduated a couple of years back, and yesterday he referred me for a position in San Jose at Adobe for their brand management program.
mm.
So that's what networking plays, and that is what one thing I was saw missing in London, because I was there for a week in London. And another thing that Fordham does really well is to give you a global exposure, and not just it's like a university exchange. It's more of a consulting project.
So tell me,
It's
what was
like
it you see in London that for which I saw a picture of you, but it not understand. So what was it exactly? Can you
So
explain?
Fordham is rated the best college in ESG, that is Environmental Social Governance, which is by Bloomberg.
Yeah.
And Fordham is one of the very few colleges who's accredited and is also in collaboration with Bloomberg to use their Bloomberg terminals for environmental purposes and sustainability purposes, right? So we were there for a week to do a project. We were allotted companies in London, wherein we had to work with those companies and create a report about how those companies are utilizing ESG. We had collaborated with a company called Data Maran, which is one of
Mm,
the first kind of companies which has a software for ESG. And we are working at their offices. We are working at Bloomberg's office in London with their Bloomberg terminals to understand what these companies are doing from past years. We were reading their sustainability reports, we were reading their sustainable development reports, and understanding what these companies are doing right and wrong. And then we were providing consulting services to them that these are the things that you should definitely do. So this is so London trip was fun. It was a lot fun for us because it was first time 60 people together going to London, but it was a group project that we were doing. So during the day, like maybe from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, we were working constantly, and then we were maybe partying or going out and meeting people, enjoying. But it was a constant hustle. And again, we are going out in March. And March is a project it's a project with McKinsey. McKinsey
mm,
will be sponsoring this trip, wherein we will be working on a consulting project with McKinsey, all of us. There would be groups, and we will be allotted some real life clients of McKinsey, and we will be sitting in their offices and providing them 2 weeks of consulting services, understanding their market scenario, understanding how to penetrate that market, understanding how to develop that market for them. And that's how, like, this is what Fordham will be doing right now in March once we are done with our winter break. So one more thing that I would like to add is like a very there's a cultural difference when it comes to America and Europe. Europe is in Europe, there's a lot of language barriers when it comes. Like, you have to understand the language, you have to be comfortable with the language. In the US, it's nothing like that. Like, I have never experienced any kind of language problem here. I can speak in English, I know a bit of Spanish. So, and people here are very open to teaching you their languages. So, I taught a lot of people Hindi. I understood how to speak Portuguese, because a lot of my Brazilian friends are from Portugal as well. Some are from Japan. So I understand few words when they speak. So there's a
mm,
lot of cultural diversity. Like, I when I was working with Anushka for a Spain when she got into Valeric, or when she got into IE, We were worried that she needs to learn a lot of Spanish so as to adjust in that particular atmosphere. So that's a certain kind of limitation which you see there. And within 1 year of course, it takes you a lot of time to adjust to that particular place because you're leaving a country. You're leaving a culture like India, where it's a close knit culture, where you're a family knit culture, and when you're coming to a country like Europe, continent like Europe or US, people here are very independent. Like half of my friends do not even live with their parents, or their parents visit them. They have to take appointment with their parents. We don't even take appointment. We just call them and tell them we are coming this week and this let's go out. So there's a lot of difference in that culture as well. So like that's what I think a 2 year MBA makes it very easier for you to adjust to that particular country, to understand its culture, to understand the ways of working, because you need to have those lingos, you need to have those jargons, you need to know the location. I'm staying in New York, and New York is a city with different people. My neighbor is from Africa, and like every day we meet him, and he's working here in Morgan Stanley. So took us to Morgan Stanley for just a coffee chat with some of the people there as hiring managers, and the hiring manager was an Indian.
Mm.
So here you and but the hiring manager was so good with the lingos that were used in America, because they are a lot proud about baseball. So they use a lot of terms from baseball, or they use a lot of words from rugby, what they call football or soccer here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is one thing which is very different here.
They have
Like,
to teach them the real sport, Animesh, cricket. You have to
oh
say
yeah,
that
we
to
actually
switch
play cricket.
from
Yeah,
baseball to cricket, because it's an issue for us. It's Americans. They cannot even play proper cricket.
so
So it's easy.
so there was an India-Pakistan match, and
Oh,
a lot
I
of
know.
our
I was in
classmates
India.
actually
Yeah, yeah,
saw it here. Like we had a whole India-Pakistan match screening at Fordham.
yeah,
So we all went there, and people actually enjoyed, and we actually played cricket during the month of July.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like Fordham makes it very easy for us to mingle together. So now
yeah,
I
yeah.
know who's who.
Mm.
And that's another benefit of 2 years program, that you get to spend a lot of time with those people. You need to get a time to bond with those people. Within 1 year, I feel 1 year you take a lot of time to adjust to yourself, adjust to that particular culture, and also to the studies.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
so much going on together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Anushka? You agree with Animesh that it is better to have a 2 year program, or you think that 1 year is enough? You don't need that much. What do you think, Anushka?
I think there's a difference when you're talking about this. Many 1 year programs, basically, if it's masters or MIM, I think 1 year programs make you work a little bit harder than the 2 years, because I guess the work pressure is not divided that much. And in the 1 year program, you don't have much time. Like there are pros and cons, but I think if I were given an option, I would have preferred a 1 year program because, as far as I know, wrapping up things and like starting a job in the corporate world is much better, because otherwise then you start aging and then you start losing interest and all that. So I guess for me 1 year program is much better than a 2 years, but it depends on person to person. Like at IE, especially for the IE MBA is also 1 year, IE masters is also 1 year. And the
Yeah.
thing is that the work pressure, the quality of work, and the amount of work that we get, and the amount of things that we have to manage at the same time. There are 3 to 4 things that we guys have to manage at the same time. I guess that prepares us more for the corporate world, because when you're working in that, we have 3 to 4 deadlines. So I guess a 1 year program, since it covers everything in a single year, it gives you a little more preparation, I guess, for the corporate world when you have to deal with stuff in a very small time.
Okay. So that's what you think. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, now that you'll be done, so you'll be done what in 3 weeks now from now, huh?
Yeah.
You have your last week of class next week.
Yeah.
So have you found a job? So okay, tell me. So what are your plans for the next 3 months?
Next 3 months, I actually have started searching for jobs, and I
Mm.
am also receiving positive responses, but still, nothing is sure for the moment. I'm applying for graduate programs for jobs as well, and I guess my current deadline is to get a job max by January first 2 weeks, and I'm really
Mm.
working hard towards that. Yeah.
And so for which company overall? What sector? And what position have you found a job?
Basically, I'm looking at FMCG and education sector
Hmm?
because since I got experience working at MBA Center, I got a very good experience in tech, and also I wanted to work especially in the business development and sales marketing roles
Hmm?
in FMCG as well. Like I'm applying for fashion brands as well
Hmm?
for the positions in sales and BD.
Okay, so that's a good thing. And you have
Yeah.
already received positive offers. What for internships or for
No,
full-time job
some
offers? What
for
type of job?
internships and
Hmm?
some for full-time jobs. But since they want immediate hiring, so probably I have to get back to them in December so that we can
Hmm?
discuss about it because everyone wants in-person interviews since COVID is not an issue now. So therefore, I I'm actually open. I'm not constricting myself only to a full-time job because since I am a fresher right now, I have only 1 year of experience. I wouldn't mind starting from an internship for 6 months and then converting into a full-time job.
Yeah. If I can give you a piece of advice, Anushka, take more like a full-time job because you have worked more than enough and you
Yeah,
need a salary now because another internship, you already had a 6 months internship or 9 months internship with MBA Center. You had enough internships.
yeah.
Um, so tell me, Animesh, what is the job market like now in America? Because we hear different things. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think? Yeah.
It's it's actually neither good nor bad. So right now there's a high chance that when I came here, so people were scared that there's a recession.
Mm,
But in this quarter, I was reading that jobs have increased in the US right now. There has been a lot of layoff in technology firms, but that is
mm,
primarily if you see quite closely, those are the roles in HR, those are the roles in engineering, those are overhired during the COVID pandemic because during pandemic all these tech firms had a lot of business coming in, so they required a lot of more people. But now they're now into losses because they are not able to afford those people. Like I actually got an interview for Amazon, but I was not too eager to go into Amazon right now. First of all, because of the culture, and like culture is like in India we never thought of not applying to a company just because of its culture, but in America that's a very big thing. People need a good culture to work in. Like I have come from advertising wherein I was working till 4 a.m. in the morning and then I was presenting it to the client at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I have come from that kind of culture as well. I've worked in that fast-paced and toxic culture as well at RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland. But here, the job market is good. Actually, the amount of internships that are being offered right now, the job market is good. It's just that people need to start sponsoring. Sponsorship is a big issue, and like if your resume is really good, like my resume here, Fordham has a software called BMOC, wherein our resumes are evaluated. So my resume was rated 98 on 100. I'm one of the second best in the whole cohort in terms of experience. And I have people who are coming here with 10 or 12 years of experience as well. So, yeah. So the job market is good and it's bad as well in some sectors. Like I know that luxury sector right now or retail sector is something which is faltering a lot. A lot of companies are facing a lot of issues in terms of sales. Like right now, it's Black Friday that is coming up, so there would be a high amount of sales going out in discounts. But overall, like companies like Estee Lauder, they are facing a lot of backlash because of low employees or like the great resignation that they are not getting able to get out of their acquisitions, but they're not able to cater to that. The best sector I think right now to work for is either like B2B sales, product marketing, product management. These are the three roles that I think will be booming a lot because investment banking right now is hanging in balance because of the market that is in like the whole stock market that is going on right now, especially with what is happening with Tesla, Twitter, NASA, and it is affecting the overall market. Then I feel most of the finance roles right now are a bit difficult to get into, a bit difficult to work for in because there's a lot of pressure. Like I have friends who have their final level interviews for JP Morgan next week, and they're still scared whether they should go into that particular firm or they should go into a mid-sized firm because these firms might or might not lay off, but they will put them on bench. And I think consulting, if I talk about the consulting industry, it's the safest. But yeah, consulting comes with a lot of pros and a lot of cons. They provide you a lot of money, but they will they will make you work hard. I have a friend like right in front of my house. I have the BCG office, and every day I see that lights are on at 4 a.m. People are walking up and down. So the people are trying to work hard in order to save their jobs and doing their jobs here right now, and I think that is going to change in couple of months, considering that there's a slight recession that is coming in, but not too much. The job market is good. It's just that people need to have relevant job experience, and it should be relevant to the American experience. That's what one thing that people don't really care about here, but it's really important that their experience should be in line with what Americans understand and what Americans do. Like if you are from an advertising background, there's no marketing firm in America that can reject me, and that has been the case till now. I have applied to Sanofi, I have applied to Kraft, I've applied to Kellogg's. I have got hiring manager interviews till now. So there's a certain kind of understanding in America which, like, I have not seen that in Europe or in India. From in India, you can come from a particular kind of experience and then pivot to an industry. In America, even if you're pivoting from, let's say, finance to marketing, there needs to be a slight experience that you need to come in with. Like you need to do a lot of courses, you need to have a lot of particular understanding to get into that particular industry. So that is one thing, like I would say, is that people here are eager to give you jobs irrespective of whether they would sponsor or not. But sponsorship is a completely different issue. Companies might or might not sponsor. Even big companies like Pepsi are not sponsoring this year, but a small company like, let's say, there's a financial firm, Invesco, they would sponsor this year. So it's a hanging in balance chance. But overall, the job market, I think, is okay. It's not that good, it's not that bad. You can get jobs, you can get good jobs, but you need to come from a good degree. You need to have a good degree. Like I know people who are in Bernard and people who are in Baruch, people who are in Pace University here in New York. Those people are not getting good jobs because, first of all, the degree matters. Second, the resumes are not strong. Third, they're not doing enough to get a job. You
Okay,
will have
so that's something that you don't recognize. Tell me, Anushka, the type of job offers that you receive, are they based in Spain? These are jobs based in Spain, or it would be jobs based, I don't know, outside, I don't know, in Europe, but outside Spain, Middle East, India? For which country do you receive job offers?
I'm basically receiving offers from India and London,
Okay,
and I received one from here from Madrid, but they are not willing to sponsor. But
okay.
I'm still trying, but I'm keeping my options open as well. But currently, it's London and India, and Madrid. I'm applying also, so let's see how it goes.
But of course, and London would be a great experience for you. That's probably the next logical step to work in London. You agree, Anushka? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably that's what I can advise you. Um, Alors, basically, yes, I think Anushka, you did not introduce yourself. It's Animesh who introduced himself. So you want to introduce yourself to the public, because we are going
Yeah.
to put this video on YouTube. There are not many people today, but there are many more who watch the videos after that. So do you want
Yeah.
to introduce yourself, maybe? Yeah, for them in
Hi
3
everyone,
minutes. Yeah.
and I'm Anushka, and I'm currently 22 years old, and I'm working. I'm a master's student at IE Business School, Madrid, and
Mhm.
I'm at the end of my master's. I'm going to complete it in the next 3 weeks, and it has been a wonderful journey. And I have done my undergrad from University of Delhi in marketing management and retail business, and at IE, I'm specializing in marketing, sales and marketing. I received a scholarship for women in business, and I am also a marketing lead at Tech IE, an event at IE. And I have also worked in clubs like Women in Business and participated in many events. I am also working on a project with Puma, a 4-day project where we have to introduce a business idea. During my time at IE, I have worked with a lot of practical business life challenges, and I've worked with companies like Sephora, Nike, and Adidas. And I have prepared projects and given a pitch for that. And for my master's project, I'm currently working on the introduction of a new toilet paper brand in Spain. And it's on Monday. That's my final capstone project. And it focuses a lot on sustainability. And at the last, I would just like to say that IE has been a wonderful journey. I made amazing friends here. It has been, I have received a lot of international exposure, and I've seen myself mature as a person, which I think that I couldn't be in India. So,
Yes, that's the thing. So Basically, you see, Animesh, I get more and more people who now more and more Indian who study in India, okay, because they say at ISB. The OND Center is going to become the official GMAT prep center for ISB. So I'm going there to give a conference on December 5 and 6.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's good news, okay, so that we are now affiliated to ISB. Uh, Tell me, what do you think about Indian business school yourself? You
It's
studied at an Indian business school because you did your undergrad
yeah.
in India. Yeah?
My best friends are from, like, my closest friends are who have studied in the top Indian schools. Like, my best friend, one of the best friends who's right now in Bain and Bain Consulting is from IIM Ahmedabad. One is in BCG and he's from IIM Indore, and one is from
Okay.
XLRI who's in Deloitte right now.
Mm.
And so from my experience, what I can say is that Indian business schools are good, but and they are changing, but they are changing very slowly.
Mm.
They're trying to become like international schools. They're getting in international people, but the kind of curriculum these schools have is still a lot of theoretical. It's they give you so one difference that India has from America is that companies come to you to hire you in India. Here in Europe and America, we have to go to companies to ask them to hire us. We don't have placement drives. We have career fairs, and career fairs is a very big term. Like, companies might or might not hire you, but in Indian university, they will definitely hire you because within 2 or 3 days they have to finish their placements. The college has to show their placement reports. They have to get audited. But here in America, it's a whole process that people might not have a job till the last year of their degree, but within 4 months from their degree, they will have a job. So it's very subjective in that case. So in India, one thing that was, I think, one thing good about Indian universities is that they're changing, and they give you a lot of opportunities, but it's too much crammed up.
Okay.
Like, if I talk, that's the one difference between ISB and other Indian universities. ISB, within 16 or 18 months, that's what their program is, that as far as I remember, there is so much practical exposure, there is so much work, and there's so much industry exposure that people there are continuously evaluating what field they want to get into. That they're actually dealing on real life business deals because it's an industry led program. And there's another college that has come up in India called Masters Union, which is doing
Mm.
amazingly well. They have been, like, they don't have a in college faculty. They have faculties who were masters, who are in a particular field, and they come to teach you. Like, I have a friend who's being taught by an ex army officer, army office general in India. So that's the certain kind of difference that is coming in the Indian universities, which is being actually copied from American and European culture, especially from America, because here in America we have the concept of adjunct professors. We have people coming it after working here. Like, I am right now, I'm being taught by a partner at Morgan Stanley. He works during the day, and at night I have classes at 8 o'clock at night till 10 o'clock, and he teaches me economics, teaches all of us economics here. So that is a different kind of culture that is coming up in India, and I think Indian universities are doing well, but they need to do further well in terms of practical education rather than theoretical education, because India is a country which relies a lot on theoretical concepts and rather than applying to them, and that is why the industry is lagging behind. The industry needs a lot of practical exposure. Industry needs a lot of practical mindset and out of the box thinking, which is not being provided at the Indian universities and as a whole. People are cramming up words, people are cramming up cases, and then coming into industries. They're going on the basis of their scores. They're not going to a company or an industry based of their knowledge. They would cram up and they would score a 99 upon 100 or maybe 100 on 100 in test, and then a company would be like, okay, this is our criteria and we will hire you. I have a friend who's amazing. Like, I have never seen a person who's so good at economics like him. But he just got rejected from American Express in India just because his score was 80 on 100 in a test. And he right now is sitting as a senior consultant at MasterCard. And he's from Delhi School of Economics, which is one of the best economics college in the world.
Mm.
So till the time the Indian universities focus on the score, they would be not able to progress further. They would have to focus on providing practical education, which actually ISB is doing right now. They're not just worried about the score, they're more worried about how we carve out the business professionals at ISB who will be in a particular industry, because the roles that they would be joining will be in assistant managers, product managers, brand managers, financial analysts, and those are senior level roles. They're not start junior level roles. So you need to have a senior level role mindset as well. So that's, I think that's what Indian colleges are doing good and are doing bad at. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the thing. Um, so basically, if you could give a piece of advice, Anushka, for someone who is in India, who hesitate, should I study, should I not study, should I stay in India, should I go abroad, how to get prepared, etc. What would you advise him or her?
I guess my biggest advice, we don't lose hope. I mean, there's like if there's a will, there's a way as well. Like for me, I guess GMAT was not a way. So we figured it out with you that there are, yes, alternative tests to prepare it as well. If you just put your mind on something and yes, you want to do it, I guess that's the best way. Because I always imagined myself when I was in undergrad and even when I was high school that I had a dream of going for an international university and especially a top ranking. And it was not an easy journey. There were a lot of moments, there were a lot of phases. Animesh also knows that where I've actually given hope that nothing's gonna work out. But then Dr. Hubert helped me out in that. We proposed alternative strategies and I applied for 8 schools in which I got into 3 of them. So only my advice is that just have a game plan. I don't think, especially in the career thing, don't do anything just out of the blue. That you just think it one day and you're gonna do it. You need to have a proper strategy, a proper timeline. Like suppose many people don't know that when you're applying for a university for a year, you have to apply 1 year earlier. Many people don't know that. So you need to be aware about each and everything. You need to do a research, you need to talk with the right people, and you need to hang out with the right crowd. So that's my advice to everyone who is thinking of applying outside.
What about you, Animesh? What would you say? Someone who is hesitating, someone who is not stellar but wants to go abroad, wants to have a chance. What would you advise him or
I
her?
think one thing that I would say in common with Anushka is don't lose hope. There's always a hope, and like hope is what drives you. Like if you lose hope, you lose confidence, and if you're losing confidence, I think if you're trying to give your 80%, you will just give 20% of it. You won't be able to give the remaining 60% because you're not confident. And when you're preparing for a B school, confidence is something that needs to be there. Even if you are wrong, you need to be confident because that will drive you forward. And that's what all the universities look at. They don't, like, I remember when I was applying to the colleges, and not Fordham, specifically Rochester. Rochester's one question that made me really happy was that we are not looking for a score, we are looking for a business professional. And how do you assess yourself as a business professional? That is what no one teaches you, it's on you. And that is what comes from your experience. So I think, like, I would have to give it to you, Dr. Hubert and Hitika, especially because you guys
Yeah.
were with me at that point of time when I was maybe at my lowest. I was working hard, I was logging in hours, and then I was also studying for GMAT, and I was getting good scores. And I think Adrian, for like, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but Adrian helped me a lot for my EA. And like, there's always an alternative. It's not just that people are coming with a GMAT here. I have seen people who are coming on some business scholarship or student aid scholarships, and it's not necessary. And America has overgrown in those point of times. Like I have some new friends at Columbia, and they have told me that Columbia is also easing their GMAT guidelines.
Hmm?
But you need to have a particular kind of work experience. So I think hope, confidence, and most importantly, a strategy. You
Hmm?
shouldn't be faltering from your strategy. If you're looking for a B school in the US, stick to it. You shouldn't have an option like, okay, if I don't get into a B school in US, I will rather apply to Europe. Europe is not easy at all. There are good colleges in Europe and they have their own standards. So you
Hmm?
need to stick to your strategy. You need to stick to what you are actually trying to do, and what kind of course you want to get at, because it's not like, okay, I will apply for a MBA, I will apply for an MS, and then I will apply for an MIM as well. So there would be a certain kind of confusion because all three courses are poles apart, they're parallel, they're not getting into a common part. Like I have people from MS at Fordham, and I will be taking classes with them because I'm selecting some new electives here at Fordham, and there would be a certain kind of gap in terms of understanding because I am coming from the industry and those people are coming right out of college. So you need to have a particular strategy in what course you're trying it to get into, and I think that's what Anushka also did pretty well. She was sure that she wants to get into Europe, and she was sure she wanted an MIM. What she was not sure was that how will I get in there, and that's where I think the MBA center helped both of us to give us a direction. See, you know where you want to go, but you need a direction to go. Like it may be the road less taken or the road that most people take. In our cases, we were the road less taken people because we got into colleges without a GMAT, but with another exam, which
Yeah.
not many people know about.
Mm.
Right? So you need to be informed. Being informed is really important because until you are informed, until you do your research, a particular like MBA, consulting firm like MBA Center knows their research, but they also rely on us. It's a 50-50 partnership wherein a student also has to do their own research.
Yeah.
Research is an important part because until you do your research, you won't know what college it is. Like right now, I was preparing some people. I think Hemraj, who's one of his students, he got a Georgetown interview.
Mhm.
So Hemraj reached out to me and he said that I got into interview for Georgetown. Can you prepare me? And my first question to him was, what kind of institution is Georgetown? And he was like, no, I don't know. I'm like,
Imraj is not. Yeah. He's a bit lost. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But you
and
get
then
it.
I told him, if you're applying to Georgetown, the first thing you need to know is it's a Jesuit institution. In America, the most important part is what sect your college is from.
Mm.
Because there are Catholic colleges, there are Jesuit colleges, there are Scientology colleges, there are public colleges. So you need to understand what university belongs to. Like Fordham is a Jesuit institution. So is Georgetown. And your whole interview needs to be around Jesuit values. So
Mm.
that's what I told him. And then that's what he prepared. And like he didn't follow up with me. I obviously didn't follow up with him in terms of how his interview went. But like when I prepared him. So people need to understand what college they're applying to. They need to know that college from scratch. Because a college interview, it's not wherein they will ask you, okay, how did you score this much in GMAT? The first question in every US university is like from 4 interviews colleges that I gave for. That first was tell me about yourself. What do you know about Fordham? Why do you want to go to Fordham? And why not Fordham? These are the 4 questions that every college will ask you. So you need to be prepared for them. You need to read the university website. And I remember Dr. Hubert scolding me, and I'm not, I have no shame of telling this that Dr. Hubert scolded me about not reading about the university for preparing an
Because
interview.
that's something that people don't understand, but yes, it's
Yeah,
important because you have to respect. I guess that you do the same thing now when you have a job interview. You
yeah.
inquire about the school, find the company, the values,
You
the
need to have your
prospects,
elevator pitch,
the
and
ideal
that's like
candidate they're looking for. Yeah.
applying to a B school is very similar to applying to a job, and that's what similarity people understand when you get into a B school and start applying for jobs. The first question at every job interview is tell me about yourself,
Yeah.
which is basically a 60-second elevator pitch that you have to give. So I think that's my suggestion is that don't lose hope, strategize well, read a lot about the college or the course that you're going ahead for, and focus on your like give equal weightage to your essays as much as to your score. Because if your essays are good, sometimes even if your score is 10 marks less and your essays are good, your resume is good, universities will consider you. And I think I have seen that in a lot of cases now. Like I am evaluating some applications for this year at Fordham and the part of the admission committee, and I've seen some applications. They're really good applications with like quite good scores, but the one thing that is missing in a lot of applications is that what basically Fordham looks at is how much are they contributing to the world. You must be a financial investment banker or you would be someone who's a stock market trader, but what are you doing for the future of the world? And that's what I think American universities are looking for right now. They're looking for people who are all rounders, who will be contributing not just to the business school or the corporate world, but also to the real world for a sustainable future. So I think then you need to be an all rounder when you're applying for a international university or let's say an Indian university. Indian universities are not easy to get into as well. So like there needs to be a parallel, like the parallel in terms of you need to have a good score. Score is a must. it might or might not be that great, but it should be good. Your application should be really good when you're applying, because like especially in US, I cannot say about that for Europe, because Europe has a very different kind of procedure. In US, you have certain questions that are out of the blue. I remember for my Emory application, there was a very funny, sorry, Duke, there was a very funny question that tell 25 things about yourself which are different from your resume. I didn't even know that I am that interesting. I got to know 25 things about myself. So, like, you need to put in your brain. It's not just you do sit in a day, write everything, and then expect your counselor or your coach to create magic. It's 70% you, 30% the counselor or the coach. They will guide you. You have to guide yourself. So, yeah, that's what I would suggest to everyone who's applying.
Okay, so it's a very good thing. So yes, so when you're in India, as you know, you have the opportunity to study at IIMs, ISB, at excellent schools. The problem is that immediately post MBA, it's difficult to expect to work abroad because you have an issue with the visa, and so that an Indian school doesn't give you the visa to study and work abroad. Okay.
Yeah.
There's also another thing that you have to consider, that many Indians want to study abroad because they can work abroad and salaries are much higher abroad. Okay, and probably the growth, the personal growth is higher. I would say that personally, it makes a lot of sense to be in India if you want to be an entrepreneur. Okay, because given the way the world is structured, the labor laws, tax laws, it's easier to make wealth probably in India than it is in at least in Europe. But now, of course, if you want to study elsewhere, so the countries that you may consider, according to me, are Europe and North America, because Canada should be considered as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget that probably there will be a big difference in the future, in the close future between Europe and in US. In that the economy in Europe is going to be very bad in the coming years, when the economy in the US is going to be much better. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely, as an Indian, if you can plan, if you're looking for a place to study in 2023, consider Europe, consider the US, because of the war, because of the issue with energy, because of the issue with the euro. US is probably economically more safe, and a better choice.
Yeah.
Okay, but still there is a lot to do in Europe, and I'm sure that Anushka, working either in fashion or in education as a business developer, will have a great career. There's no doubt about this. Okay, so thank you very much for being with us, and it was a pleasure as usual to meet
Anything
the
more.
Thank
gens.
you, sir.
Have a good day.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye. Bye bye.
Bye.